Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make a start. Recording myself. Thanks for coming along. So this, I'm just going to say a couple of words. So my name is Ralph Upton. For those who haven't met me, I'm the head of student entrepreneurship at the university here. I'm responsible for space, better space, trying to support students, graduates on the businesses, scale up, be successful. And we're also really interested in addressing issues around social mobility and entrepreneurship, trying to open up access to entrepreneurship for everyone, regardless of the background, the kind of connections that they've got, or the kind of resources they've got. We're really kind of passionate about the difference entrepreneurship can make to the world more general. So that's kind of what we do. We've got the university to support us, and a bunch of other partners are bringing on board as well. But I just want to say this is our second demo night. So we had our first one on the 12th of June, which is at the business school. So we're kind of moving these between the business school, which is in Finsbury Square, Rockpool Business School, which is now going to be Venture Space, and also Better Space, which is our social enterprise space on Farringdon Road. So every second Wednesday of every month, we'll move between these three different venues, and we're going to just try and really bring everyone's interest in entrepreneurship in the city of London to come along, really build the community. So the idea is that you guys start to see. The idea is that you guys start to get to know each other, start to kind of get familiar with the kind of routine or the opportunities that we're trying to give you as well. So make those connections and support each other and create a really, really supportive community. That's the idea. And without further ado, hand over to Stuart. Thank you very much.
Right. And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
So scan this QR code and sign up immediately. We have just launched a new membership. Okay. So this membership is for first-time founders, and today and for the next 24 hours, there's a 50% off with that QR code. Okay. So the idea is that every month there is a challenge, there is a knowledge transfer, there's a knowledge transfer, and there is a live coaching call that happens as part of that membership pack. And it's a monthly thing that can cancel anytime. There's an annual version if you want to go for a 12-month thing. Member of the in-residence team, such as Matt, who's the CTO in residence, or Rachel, who's the CFO in residence, or me, who's blinded by that light, will be giving that knowledge transfer. And there's 14 of us. We do something different every week, every month, as part of that little joint. Okay, so that's the live launch, and that's gone out on the blog today. It's an announcement and everything. You can sign up.
Great pitch.
So here you go. Mentimeter. Stick that code in to menti.com and you can start to interact. And all the way through today, one of the little changes we made since last time is that the decks are up on Mentimeter. You can see those decks. You can go through those decks. You can also write your questions in when somebody's up here giving their talk, and we'll see all of those at the end. And you can also rate each talk about whether or not you get it, whether or not you did best in it, whether or not you use it. All right, start. What words do you associate with start? Who put their own logo in?
Actually, it wasn't me. I'm like,
okay, so 5 minutes is the demo format. Okay, 5 minutes Q&A, and obviously the questions will be curated through Mentimeter. Anybody who's watching the live stream can also see the same Mentimeter and contribute to those questions. Do you remember what the number one reason is for startups to fail?
building something no one wants
Or needs.
or needs.
In the time that you have available for them to want it. Because if they don't pay for it, you don't have any cash, unless you've got somebody's investment cash coming through, but it's very hard to kind of maintain that window until you actually buy it. Okay? And that's why we're here, because when we present stuff and other people criticize us, and we use that kind of constructive criticism to develop our ideas rather than just stick in our own heads, and we build stuff that people actually care about. We're fully interactive. So we're going to do the first one, and Matt's in charge of this bit, okay? And you're going to do the timer as well, right, Matt? Okay, you're going to do the timer bit as well. And I do apologize for anybody who's talking with me. That light is absolutely blinding me. So roll with it, but you kind of need the glasses. Did you remember how to clap?
Want to get the pose?
Yeah, you've got the clapping thing going on. Okay, so when the people come up here, you've got to give them the most possible enthusiasm you can. Small room, so it should really echo.
Yes.
And the energy you give, in this case Elizabeth, will be the energy she returns to you, okay?
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. Rachel and I are here to ask some questions. Matt, it's over to you, my man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone ready for demo night?
Yes.
Good. We are up against England tonight, but I'm pretty confident that there will be some better performances than this. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Dr. Elizabeth, who is going to do a reverse pitch for us tonight.
Well, energy. Yes, you're going to give me energy. Thank you so much. Well, 1,000 Black Voices is an inclusive community, and we have some of our founders here today, which is cool. So thank you for that particular energy. What we're all about is how can we ensure that there are inclusive perspectives in how we develop technology and make sure we advance technology with that in mind. And so we have this 17 billion solution. Why do you think it's a 17 billion solution? Because, and I should be standing here, shouldn't I? I like walking around. Because 1 million and only 1 million of the VC money goes to Black founders. And there's 18 billion out there. So we have a problem that we need to resolve. And so with 1,000 Black Voices, we support venture backable companies, enable them to become venture backable companies. Our founders have been given access to capital. These wonderful individuals here have raised capital first with Techstars, going on to Google, and currently, for example, Theo is raising his Series A. So we support founders along the whole journey from ideation through to Series A. And this is something that's really important, connecting founders to social and financial capital. So, we know how to move this along. Yeah, these are some examples of some fun that we've been having. So energy, we take founders on trade missions as well as the accelerator we do have, which is 12, the accelerator is 12 weeks. The trade missions run from 3 to 5 days. Our founders go on to the US, Lisbon with Canopy and various other places. We work with the British consulate on that. The whole point really is showing that our founders can access capital and expand into different markets. Why now? So I've got to think about that. Let's do it then. Why now? Why now? Because of course this is the time where there's rapid technological change. This is the time for you to ensure that you're part of that story, that you're actually creating the future. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, has anyone got any questions?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
What is your personal inspiration for starting this project?
There's a need. 0.2% of the capital. I talked about the 17 billion solution, but only 2% VC goes to Black founders. And there's so many incredible founders in this particular room. Incredible Black founders too. They should be invested in. VCs are missing out on such innovation, so much innovation. But if we break it right down, it's because you always get me emotional at this point. It's because we need to make sure in our communities we're economically resilient. We need to make sure that we are part of that story, that we have a voice. This is a capitalist world that we live in, and if we don't have capital flowing through our communities, we don't have that voice. So, yeah.
Is there any epiphany moment or inspiration moment to start this?
You know the answer, don't you? You know all these answers. Well, let's say epiphany moment, but if we backtrack a little bit, before I had that epiphany moment, I mean, actually, I don't think it's just a moment in time, but there's a key moment that got me to stand up and have the courage. I was doing my family tree. It was during COVID, right? So I had some time. So I was doing my family tree, which I know, but, you know, working all the way through. My mom's Jamaican, my dad's Nigerian. I know where my family is on the African continent, but in Jamaica, working all the way through the plantation and trying to work out where, in Africa we come from. And of course, then George Floyd got killed. So that was a really emotional time. And it was like, come on, these are my ancestors. They have worked hard to get me here, and it's terrible. And we just need to do something. I've got to have the courage to stand up and say, I'm going to work for our community. I'm going to make sure that we have a voice and that I leave a better legacy, a place that I want my children to live in and my ancestors to live in a community that we're accepted, but also that we're driving forward and we're making inroads in what we want to achieve. So.
We also had a question from the audience. So are investors actively avoiding investing in Black founders? Or do they just not understand the markets they serve?
Yes and yes. VCs do not always understand some of the challenges that Black founders are addressing. So I'm a Black founder. And of course, in some cases, VCs might well think that the problem that's being solved is too small, particularly if you're focusing on a particular demographic or a particular geographical area. So there's that side of things. And of course, as we know, VCs are looking at ensuring that they get the unicorn, right? So going for a big problem, you're going to return the funds. That's how you've got to think, particularly for the San Francisco, the States, you've got to think like that. And again, geographically, because of course I'm standing here, we're talking to the world, but in the UK, when I share valuations from the States, founders here are like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't think about those high valuations because we're in this particular marketplace and this is what these VCs want and are looking for. And I say, well, if you are thinking of competing on a global scale, you have to think about those valuations because you then cannot compete on the same level. You're going to be a geographically located local company and rather than a global organization that's dealing with all these global challenges that you want to address. And so that's something that we need to consider. And sometimes, VCs highlight that and think, well, actually, you need to think like that. And we do have founders thinking like that as well. We have Black founders thinking like that. And so there's this need to understand that some of these challenges actually translate to other geographical areas. If we're looking at challenges in Africa, it translates to Latin America. It translates to geographical areas within the States. So it does translate, and it's that understanding. So, if you are from a particular demographic, you know what you know in that demographic. If you have gone to had a sort of educational background, you know that educational background. So there's a lot of learning to be had. And I'm standing here focusing on a community. I'm here to bring in different perspectives. I'm here to learn also. I don't have all the answers. I'm not purporting to have all the answers, but I am looking to see how I can bring learning to our communities, but also capital and social capital is so very important because, of course, the learning is one thing, but actually then translating that into, a growing unicorn is something else. So did that answer all the parts?
No, it was really, really good. We've got time for one more question, which we'll go straight to here. How did you become part of the
Key question.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you can become a member. So, open to everyone to come through. Of course, Black founders, mentors, investors, VCs, corporates, we have partners that support us. Also, we have our accelerator program. Actually, I should have had that up today, but it's opening up. These are 12-week programs. You can join an accelerator program, which really focus very much on ensuring that we address your particular goals. Not everyone that comes through wants VC, and not everyone actually should have VC. It's really how making sure that we understand what the challenges are, what the red flags are, and how you actually want to grow your business. So the accelerator supports on that. The next one is an AI accelerator. We have run an AI and blockchain accelerator before in 2021, I think that was. So we're running another one. We have support from a number of organizations to run that. And we also have a pre-trade mission because, hey, we have founders going on trade missions around the world or conferences not ready and prepared. So we are doing that. You can apply to join that. And we have these ongoing conversations, mentoring, and various different support. But also it's about how do we introduce you to the people that we know. Now, saying all of that, I am a founder, so I share the programmatic side of things, but I'm always there to try and support further. I can't promise that I always can because it means me also making introductions to, trying to gain introductions myself to then develop these relationships. And I think that's very important for all of us to do, that we all have to think about how we develop relationships. It's key to actually driving ourselves forward. So I'm lucky and really very appreciative of our partners and people that do come in to support, like Canopy, fantastic, coming to support our founders, coming to support our communities. And that's how you can get involved. So you can get in touch with me via LinkedIn. I think my details, not there anymore, but my details are on the slides. So I made sure I did that. You can get in touch that way. And I'll be putting these things on the website so you can actually apply directly and you can become a member directly. So that's going to be happening soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Big round of applause. One more question from the audience we didn't get time for, so whoever that was, do make sure you slide with the part with. So, our next startup is Jeremy from Barbie AI.
Hey. Thanks very much for being here. I'm going to blitz through this because last time I went over time, but my name's Jeremy. I'm a co-founder of Barbie AI. We are helping nonprofits find and convert their ideal donors. The ask is investment. We don't need investment for development or for staff. We've absolutely got that covered. Every penny invested goes to revenue generation and expansion. SEIS is still available. And if you have a profile or a network in the nonprofit sector, I have something that network is going to love, and you will be extremely popular for introducing them to it. So let's work together. So what are we doing? Well, all nonprofits want donations from individuals. And the reason is that they're not ring-fenced. They can be spent on anything, and it's scalable. Unlike trusts, corporates, grants, which are extremely competitive, you have to jump through hoops, and usually those funds have to be committed for something specific. The problem is, even though they all want it, most nonprofits don't know who to ask. They don't know how much to ask for. They don't know how to convert a prospect to a lead to a donor. And they don't have the data skills or capacity to solve any of those problems, but I do. We are using machine learning to solve all these issues. We're looking at tens of millions of data points, including millions of credit card, debit card transaction details to build precise personas of exactly who's interested in which campaign, who wants to be targeted in which way, who's interested in what subtopic, and we can do that all the way down to the postcode or even the sports team if you want. We use data-driven machine learning to help build campaigns that convert, and we use live benchmarking to ensure that every penny that should be donated is. Who are we? So myself and my co-founder, experienced serial entrepreneurs. We know how to build things, we know how to sell, we know how to raise money. We have a Horizon Europe scientist, data scientist, Dr. Sanchapandi, leading our data science efforts. And we have one of the world's leading UI UX designers and front-end, back-end developers and staff. Why now? Well, because we're doing it anyway. We've won a $350,000 Innovate UK Smart Grant to help bring this to life. So again, all investment goes to revenue generating activities. We're not spending it on salaries, we're not spending it on development. There is a huge global market to be won. We think there's about 4.5 million nonprofits in the US, the EU, and various other markets. And we think that we're relevant to about 25% of them. So that's a target market of 562,000. Services offered by Western governments are declining, tax revenues are declining, the gap needs to be covered by that third sector. So there's a CAGR of 9.8, 1.8 rather, and so we think that the market opportunity is about 670 million at our current pricing. The market is crying out to be served. Our most relevant competitor serves the top 1% of the top 1%, the UNICEFs of the world. Not everyone fits in that. And we have a validated list of 200 organizations clamoring for the product. So what's the product? Well, I'm going to take a real life example of one of our research participants with the Rainforest Charity. And they recently held an arts fundraiser at a gallery. And so here's how we help them find out. Do I need to click play? Yeah, cool. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so we're going to help them find new donors. We're going to let them select which campaign, which strategies they're interested in. So we're using only digital strategies this time because they weren't set up with direct mail. And so now the machine in real time builds the perfect profile for them of who they want to target. We asked them if they want to focus on an maximum average donation, minimizing complexity, how many segments they want, and what their interests are. So it's an arts event or an environmental charity. So that's what we're selecting. And then we use all of that data to build these ideal segments, and we're predicting the number of donors, how much they're going to be into the what we should ask them for, and their likelihood to convert to a regular donor, which is obviously much more valuable than a one-time donor. We even recommend the conversion sequence based on experimentation and science, data science, to convert that particular segment. And we've got a fine-tuned LLM that SMEs have put hundreds of hours into to even get down to the actual messaging for that segment, for that particular event. So imagining we've got that event running, the final feature Matt is going to unleash for us is we're going to, in real time, understand, am I at time?
No, it's very good.
Okay, he's good. He's good. In real time, we're going to go back into that that campaign, and we're going to understand against industry benchmark and against peer benchmarks exactly how every element of the campaign's performing. You can see it's doing really well, except the text message part. And so again, the machine is suggesting, hey, you want to fix that, and here is exactly how we fix it. So in summary, we tell you exactly who you want to target. It's extremely precise. We can build models down to your postcode, down to your sports team, down to whether you have children. We can tell you how much they should be asked for. We should tell them what, we can tell them what the conversion sequence is, and we can even tell them what messaging they're going to respond to. So thanks very much.
Instead of scrolling,
being a panelist is much easier, but giving a demo is much more rewarding.
questions from the panel?
So, in terms of the kind of non-profits you work with, who's your ideal customer?
Yeah, so it's interestingly, we find that there's a kind of bifurcation of the market. So we think that between 100 grand and 3.5 million is the sweet spot for us. And we find that the micros at the bottom of that level, they really want to grow because they don't have that much revenue, so they're really interested. And then there's a soft spot in the middle where people might have some grants sorted out, or they've got like a long-term corporate sponsorship and they don't want to upset the apple cart too much. So the demand's softer there. But then when you get to the top of that range, those people are really wanting to grow, and the only way to grow is getting unrestricted funds from individuals. So again, the demand really picks up at the top of that bracket.
What would that look like in terms of budget and brand?
Sure. Yeah, so it would be.
Examples?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of interest from local care clinics. So there's a a vision clinic in Devon that's really interested. There's a lot of homeless clinics that we're working with as well. We've got it's called the Natalie Kate Moss Trust, is one of our really active research participants. They raise about £1 million per year to help with some kind of brain cancers. And then the other one that we work really close with, the example I showed was, I'm not sure if people have heard of it, it's the Rainforest Alliance. So there's not the UNICEFs of the world, but your sister or your niece or your cousin or whoever it is probably works at a charity that we can help. And I do find that everyone has one in their network, so hit me with them.
We've got time for one more question. Anyone from the audience?
You mentioned that you use ML to generate the campaign.
Mm.
How do you ensure that there isn't some kind of hallucination in even the campaign messaging that is crafted?
Yeah, so there's like two elements. There's the producing the conversion sequence, which is the funnel that I showed you, and then there's the actual text. The possibility for hallucination sits in the generative text element of it, which is it's an LLM fine-tuned with a few hundred model responses and then several thousand kind of reinforcement layers. So there's some possibility for hallucination in there, but it's sort of creative writing. The actual conversion sequence, there's not really a possibility for hallucination. There's just a possibility for drift there. So we get that information from people's CRMs. We get that from experiments that we conduct. And then we get that from aggregator services who resolve client files to particular advertising. So we feed that all in, and it's just a statistical model. So there's potential for drift and error in there, but not hallucination.
Great. Thank you. Round of applause, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to move this. Stand on the sticky, everyone. Otherwise the camera can't see you. Right, time for our next startup. Nisida from Retail Hint.
No.
You. Yes. Yeah.
On the right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we are the platform for forecasting and monitoring footfall for retail in all kind of setups. So we start initially from a different vertical. So we've been active for the past 5 years in the heritage and tourism vertical, but now we want to actually expand to the retail vertical. And we are talking physical retail spaces, not online retailers. And so we are just looking for feedback on how we are tackling this vertical, which is new for us, and connections as well to conduct, user testing, user interviews, because we know that's the way you do it, of course. And the three problems that we want to tackle for the retail industry, and again, we are talking brick and mortar retail. It's number one, there's not enough footfall data outside of the store. So all of the retailers have systems to monitor footfall once people come in the store, but especially where GDPR, CCPA regulations around privacy apply, a lot of retailers cannot monitor footfall outside of their premises. Second problem is lack of data integration between different systems. So a retailer may have their point of sale system that doesn't speak with their CRM system, their customer relationship management system, that doesn't speak with their in-store sensors. So they get data on their customers from all the different sources, but they don't manage to combine all the data sources. Third problem, which is related to the first one, there's a very low conversion on pass-through rate. This means that most retailers, because they don't have data on footfall outside their store, they can't know what is the ratio of people passing in front of their store versus entering the store. So everyone knows the ratio between people in the store to people buying something. That's a conversion rate. Typically, they all know that, but they don't know the pass-through rate. This means that when they have to do a new promotion that is visible from outside, a new window display, they have no clue whether that is successful or is not successful. This is our hypothesis around the problem at the moment. Well, why us? We're a bunch of amazing people. We worked pretty much anywhere from already monitoring and forecasting passenger flow for like Heathrow Airport and Geneva Airport to, scaling the business development teams around amazing companies, including Dow Jones, for example, or developing amazing applications for Oxford University Press. And then there's me, of course. Why now? And how will it change retail? Of course, this is the slide that we've been asked to do. And it's very exciting, actually, because it prompted me to understand why now is the relevant moment for this. And the actual answer is because retail is becoming a lot more data obsessed. So every retailer, because of the influence of e-commerce in the past 20 years, they know how important data is. And then the second thing is also because now technology can, for the first time ever, enable privacy-first monitoring of their customers. And how will it change retail? Well, hopefully, and again, we're open for feedback on this, transforming retail operations and customer care, ensuring that everyone gets their proper care as a customer of retailers, and then ethical monitoring. So big data, but big on ethics. Now, how does it work? This is the beginning of the demo. I have to feed you on some information. So we have 4 main data sources. Flow hint monitoring sensors. We'll see in the second a demo of our sensors to monitor footfall. Then client data. This is the data, for example, from the client's point of sale system. Partner data. This could be, for example, they are some ads running on Meta, and they have the data coming from the ads on Meta, right? And then external data. We buy data. For example, we buy data from all airports worldwide constantly, so we know the flow of people into the city where the retailer is based. Then retail hint integration engine. So we put everything together into our integration engine. We do forecasting. So we have hundreds of machine learning models that forecast people behavior. And then we give you insights. Again, to the retailer, this would be something like you're going to have X amount of customers passing in front of your windows in the next 3 days or whatever. Okay, so how does it work? So this is our system to monitor people flow and vehicle flow. So three, 4 things. So it monitors number and classes of people, of course, pedestrians, vehicles, types of vehicles, individual dwell time and speed, density, and of course, direction of travel. So this is the first data source that we use to then be able to forecast people behavior. This is what you see, and this is what we see. Let me show you. Oh, whoops. I guess math means we need manual intervention here. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we see. This is a store in front of a retail store in Venice. We see, of course, this is what our AI would see. And then we have 2 directions where people are coming in. And as you can see, as people enter, we are counting them as pedestrians or vehicles. And in this example, a bicycle is crossing and it's counting them as a bicycle exiting, the area. Now, this has been, commonplace, this kind of computer vision models. The difference is that we are the only ones who does it in a GDPR and CCPA compliant way. So it's privacy compliant worldwide. That's it. Okay, well, 6 questions. I don't know.
Thanks, everyone. I think we'll go to the panel first for a question.
I have a cantankerous question. Can I ask it?
Yes.
Okay. So I find retail boring,
Okay.
and I think we buy and do too much stuff away.
Mhm.
And I wonder why you're not doing something like saving people from buying at festivals or into Germany rather than doing something. That's my question.
Also, yeah, of course, as some people know, they pretty much figure out at the Hajj, for example, again, talking about religious pilgrimages, until it didn't work anymore. So this year, unfortunately, some incidents happened, for example, which was a reminder that, again, they haven't completely figured it out. So there's a lot of space for that. The reason why, so this is in our pipeline, but the reason why we're not focusing on that vertical right now is because typically those are situations where authorities get involved. So the whole privacy landscape changes once, for example, the police is one of the actors that is involved, because once you talk about public safety, then privacy regulations get more relaxed, and therefore the need for privacy-focused hardware and software system like ours is less valuable. Because if the police can just like use CCTV and run computer vision model on CCTV, then of course privacy-focused solution is less relevant. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's less of a priority, but we would like to go into that.
We've got a question from the audience. Why now probably the most important slide?
Why now? Is that the riddle? So why now probably the most important slide? Well, I guess I don't know.
Is it?
What does it mean? Is it? No, it's probably the most important thing. I think for retail, the point is that again, because of the influence of two things, so e-commerce and online advertisement, for the past 20 years, all the retailers, even brick and mortar retailers, have become data obsessed. And so the reason why now is really important at the moment is because we think that for the retail vertical, this is the moment where they want to, get more data. But again, if you have any feedback, just send me an email or add me on LinkedIn, please. We had the email before.
Question from the audience.
I think it's cool. I'm like Stuart. What
I said I was being fantastic.
is there a way that I understand that privacy is part of like the core offering? Is there a way where we could actually do a bit of like understanding like potentially the gender of our footfall, maybe even some sentiment analysis, like maybe if they're like got like a fast, angry gait or like a slow, relaxed gait, like like these kind of insights beyond just the raw number of okay, we had 1,000 people pass your shop window, and therefore that you converted 0.5%. Could we say you had 1,000 women past your shop window, and then maybe we predict you're going to get 1,000 more tomorrow, so maybe we can change your display to like adjust to them?
Yes and no, depends where you live. So I've been in touch with some think tanks by the European Commission because the AI Act is coming into force next year. So we've actually been consulted by asked to give our opinions about the AI Act by the European Commission and the think tank that they were sponsoring in this specific subject. In Europe, the answer is no. Biometrics on public space, places where European citizens live, is absolutely legal from the next year.
Wow.
In the UK, sentiment analysis, if done with an hardware like what we have, my personal opinion, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a subject matter expert, so that's important distinction. My point of view is that in the UK, because only GDPR applies, but the EU AI Act doesn't apply, in the UK may be legal. However, what, for example, the railways have been doing with emotion recognition in stations, that's on the verge. To me, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I know more about the data pipeline. So they have been, just for the benefit of everyone who hasn't read the news, they stream footage onto an AWS system that analyzes emotions. Wow. So this technically, to me at least, is acquisition of personal data because you stream it into your database. And then regardless of the fact that you delete it afterwards, personally, I don't believe it applies the strictest version, at least, of the GDPR. So I don't believe it would be completely compliant to the current legislation in the UK. Now, with our hardware, you could do it because we only transfer metadata to our servers. So absolutely, yes. In the UK. In EU, no. California, different thing. Singapore, for example, different thing. We work, for example, in Singapore. There as well, it's slightly different legislation. And then pretty much all other markets are more relaxed in terms of privacy regulation.
Cool.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
Right, ready for our penultimate demo. Andre.
Nice. Well, thank you.
I'm going to give you a round of applause, all right?
Yeah. Thank you, Stuart. Okay. Evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? How you doing? You're awake? You're alive? Perfect. Right. So my name is Andre Hackett. I'm the co-founder of Sonar. stands for the School of New Africa. And the reason we're here this evening is because we are raising 50K to close a 350K bridge round. So we've already raised 300,000, we've got 50K left. Once we close that, that will bring our total fundraising to around £850,000. Now, thank you. And no, we've been really fortunate. We've been really blessed to have an amazing set of, angels join us on the cap table, from the likes of Eileen Burbage, from, Silicon Valley, all the way on the upper spectrum to someone you might know called Ed Sheeran. And, whilst they are really different in terms of what they do on a day-to-day basis, they've come together in the fact that they really believe in the work that we do. So hopefully by the end of the day, you will also believe in what we're doing as well. So actually, before I go into the next part, quick question. Has anyone heard of the Lumumba bone? No? Didn't think so. All right. So for those of you who don't know, the Lumumba bone is the oldest mathematical instrument in the world, right? So it was used 40,000 years ago by African women to track the lunar cycles, and not only the lunar cycles, but they also used it to track their menstrual cycles. So from that, we can actually argue, and actually no one can actually argue with me, that African women invented mathematics. Can we get a round of applause? You might want to argue with me, it's cool, but what we should be arguing about is why actually no one else knew that in the business, right? And we believe the reason why nobody knew that is because our education system is broken, right? So you would know about potentially, Pythagoras theorem in the ancient Greeks, but you wouldn't know about the Lumumba. You know about Napoleon, but you wouldn't hear often about Toussaint Louverture, who was an enslaved African who freed himself and his community, and then raised an army to actually defeat Napoleon at the height of his power in the Haitian Revolution. You probably heard about the Great Wall of China, but maybe you haven't heard of the Great Wall of Benin, which is actually based in Nigeria, but it's 4 times the length of the Great Wall of China. Now, this unbalance in the education system produces, at a subconscious level, we believe, in students from a European background, like I said, a full sense of superiority. And even worse, in students from a non-European background, it produces a full sense of inferiority. And so this is why we built our own curriculum. By working with the top African historians in the world, we created our own African languages and history. And, we've turned it into an educational platform called Sonos. So in the platform, you learn African history and languages in a gamified format. And at the heart of the game is our unique Earn As You Learn program, which essentially you, as a parent, you will have one of these Sonos cards, which we have a partnership with MasterCard. As a parent, you top up the child's pocket money. As the child completes their homework on a weekly basis, they unlock their pocket money, which they can spend anywhere. And yeah, incentivized learning or bribery, but it gets the job done. And so we built a lot of amazing partnerships to get this, over the line. So why now? So if you're not aware, we are in the middle of an African Renaissance. So this is myself and my co-founder, Fuzo Niji, with the president of Ghana. In 2019, we helped Ghana launch a campaign called the Year of Return. Before the Year of Return, we gave out 40,000 tourism visas. During the Year of Return, we did 750,000 tourism visas. It generated $1.3 billion for the Ghanaian economy. So now it's actually moving from something soft and subjective like self-love to actually a hard economic impact. But this, right now, like I said, there's an African Renaissance, and I would say there's an African gold rush. And the example I love to give is that in any gold rush, the people who really make money are not the ones actually selling the gold or the land. A lot of the times, actually people selling the pickaxes and the shovels, the tools, right? And that's what we've been doing. And don't take my word for it, we've already had quite a lot of traction. So we haven't launched yet. We already had over 300 families, paid customers, who bought the program. That's over 1,000 individual users, because parents, especially Black parents today, they want their children to grow up with a different sense of identity and purpose. The team is myself and my co-founder, who is none other than Grammy Award-winning, multi-platinum selling musician Fuse ODG. And we've brought together an amazing team. We'll have a Kingston Tego, our CTO, He's here in the building. He's built products that have, scaled and done over 100 million. Your last, startup. Nia Arthur, she's a lawyer, so she handles all of our, the car program, the legals. Shamara Adams, she's from Disney, so she helps to make sure all of the content is on point. And then Nigel Stewart, he's the head of our curriculum, and again, make sure that everything is on point from an education perspective. So that's it. I'm going to give you a quick little demo. So Matt, get away. Oh, so there's no sound. So introducing the Sona app. So essentially, you can. There you go.
Your cup of knowledge. The more cups you fill, the faster the forest of wisdom can grow. With the prepaid card and virtual wallet, you can earn as you learn. If funds are available on your card, just complete a mission to unlock your pocket money. The Sona app will educate, yet excite. You navigate it with your fingertips. Simply tap to select, swipe to scroll, and use your voice to take part. It makes learning easy. Stories are illustrated, narrated, and are accompanied by music. Even though study machines are designed by academics to teach, the experience looks, sounds, and feels like it's created to watch, just like a movie. Sharing is foundational to Sona. The community board is a way to share your progress with friends and family. The Sona app is a new way to grow love for ourselves and our community, a new way to build knowledge of collective contributions to the world, a new way to tap into the power within us all. The hidden stories of human history are here. This is the School of New Africa.
So there you have it. That is Sona. Again, like I said, we're in a real special point in time. I think parents are looking for something different. Again, they really want their children to grow up with a new sense of purpose and identity. And we look at our core audience. There are 1.3 billion people in the African diaspora, and we reckon about 90 million of them are parents. If we just capture 1% of that market, we have £1 billion business, which is what we believe we can have. So I'd love to get your feedback and love to get your thoughts. Thank you.
First question from the panel.
I was going to say, just from that brief overview, the concept and what I can see, it looks really compelling. Do you need the money element in terms of being paid to use it?
So that's a great question. So the money element is, for us, we built it actually from speaking to the customers. So we went into schools and colleges, and it was actually just the EdTech platform before. When going and speaking to customers and the parents and teachers, they feel like the children will need a bit more incentivization to carry it on and make it a bit more sticky. So that's why we added the fintech part onto it, and I think it makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of these programs, like I'm on Duolingo, I'm on a lot of these things, and I use it sometimes, But if there was something that fitted into my day-to-day life that would help me use it on a more often basis, then I think that would even be better. And so with the pocket money, it was us thinking, what do parents actually do, like on a weekly basis? Most parents give their children pocket money. So if there's a way that we can fit in with their current lifestyle, that makes it easier for the parents and for the children to stick along with it, I think we have a more compelling product.
I guess you are asking them to come home from school and then do some more studying potentially. So
yeah, exactly. It's an extra ask. And again, it's also they're learning financial literacy as well. So they're learning the value of money, they're learning, and the parent can block and freeze the card as well. So there's all sorts of controls that we have on there as well.
Well, I do think that's really cool.
Thank you.
We've got a question from the audience. Can adults use it too?
Yes, adults can use it too, 100%. Actually, from the feedback we've been getting, a lot of the parents are like, actually, I want to learn this because actually they didn't have this information growing up as children as well. And it's funny, we realized what we're really selling to is the parent, but we're actually selling to, as an adult, we're selling to people wanting to appease their inner child because they want something that they didn't have when they were growing up. So 100% adults can use it.
What was your secret sauce in raising it? Everyone wants to know.
I think the secret sauce in raising 800K again is so myself and my co-founder. I mean, we've been doing this work for years and years, and we just get stuff done. Like the one thing about us, like we execute, and that 850K came from people who've known us for years, right? So whenever we've actually said we're going to go and do something crazy, we actually do it. So this time, people just didn't want to miss out. And so yeah, if there's anyone else in the room thinking about investing, you shouldn't miss out.
I think that's what we've got time for. We're going to have one more demo, but what we're going to do, just going to mix it up a little bit before we do that. What we're going to do is going to do a bit of 2-minute networking. So find someone in the room you don't know, intro with the last film you watched, and then do 2 minutes of networking. Go for it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's just like it's that's a lot of data.
I wish I could get out now.
So we've got it's super creepy. It's almost like it's about 1.4 meters. So it's like we don't know. And then we know we got I know it's you guys have Sorry to break up. Time for our last demo, everyone.
Hi everyone, pleasure to meet you all. My name is Victoria Omobuojo. I'm the CEO and founder of Sunmo Snacks, and we have a range of our hero product, which is our plantain crisps, and we also have some exciting other products as well that we've launched. So Sunmo, so growing up in East London, my mum's house was packed full of people coming together to sharing food, laughter, and joy. And that is what Sunmo means. So Sunmo is a Yoruba word. It means to bring people together. And our ethos is to bring people together with food. And essentially we are raising right now because we've launched into retail, so we've launched into Selfridges, we've launched into Sainsbury's, we've launched into Whole Foods Market, and now we're speaking with Tesco, and we understand what a large retail listing looks like, and we know we need to support that properly. That's what we're looking for. So Sunmo, we are
a brand about bringing people together, as I mentioned, but we also have 4 key pillars. Community is one. I find that a lot of people find a lack of community. That's a big problem that we have. People feel lonely, they want a sense of belonging. And everything that we do, our educational piece, online, when we're speaking to retailers, it's all about bringing the community together and finding ways to bring African Caribbean food, but also healthy snacking to the mainstream and make it so that, African foods aren't in the world food aisle, but we're in the main aisles, as with Italian food or Greek food and everything else. So we're championing diversity in that sense. Another thing is, of course, culture and making people comfortable. I find when I come into these rooms, I know many people don't have any food in their hands, we've got a couple of drinks, but when we eat and when we share in food, it brings people together. So that's what we really love to do. It makes people feel comfortable, it makes people feel welcome. And food is a universal language that we understand, we all understand, and we at Sunmo love to make sure that everyone understands this language, essentially. Next slide. So again, we're champion bringing people together. A lot of our campaigns are focused on diversity. It's not just about one culture, but it's about all cultures. We're going to do some more guerrilla marketing, but I guess a story of our beginning, we started in March 2019, and we was at the IFE trade show. I used to work in finance, and I had 2 investment bankers, people in the senior members of the bank that I worked in, say, okay, what do I do outside of work? And I was like, okay, I've just got this plantain crisp thing. We sell at a couple market stores, let's change the subject. But I think they saw something in me, and they saw that I have that sense of bringing the office together, any opportunity to speak, I'll take it. And they said they're going to invest in me. And that's how we started. We went to the trade show and we had this tiniest stall, which was like £1,000. And we're like, okay, up against the Walkers of the world and all of these. And we're like, how are we going to make the noise that we need to? And I had about 10 flash mob dancers, and we had, people dancing and making all of this noise to really bring out what Sunmo is about and what we represent. And that's where we spoke to the retailers, and that's how we launched into the large retail stores, because it really gave that message across. And we hope that whenever someone picks up a packet of Sunmo, and whenever they have it in their house or they share it with friends, that comes across as well. So the team. So the Sunmo team is made up of Gordon Ramsay, Carla Jane, Finny Johns, who are the early investors who was at the private bank that I worked at, Oli Bucano, who's also one of the person that was at the bank that I worked at, and myself. So Gordon Ramsay, I was on a BBC One show. I know that may seem a bit like, oh, how did you get Gordon to invest, right? I was on a BBC One show called Gordon Ramsay's Future Food Stars. It's similar to The Apprentice, where there's 12 entrepreneurs, I guess, going through these challenges to win Gordon Ramsay's investment. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, I won the show and got Gordon Ramsay's £150,000 investment. So that's why he's part of the team. And the partnership has been incredible. He believes in the ethos and he believes in the direction of the brand. And of course, his expertise and his name has really helped us to go to where we really want to go and to get into more places that we really need to be in, essentially. So that's Sunmo in a nutshell. That's the Sunmo brand. And I hope that you guys come into the Sunmo community, essentially.
Question from
I am, guys. It's not just for me.
Question from the panel.
That was my question.
Oh, that was a question. Any questions from the audience?
Sure.
Is it more important to market to Tesco or to the end consumer? Because I suppose those like Tesco, M&S, whatever it is, can just put it in a prominent place and it's probably going to sell at a certain volume if they place it. So I was just thinking, when you're doing that flash mob, that's actually to the retailers, not to the end consumer. So where's the marketing spend most important?
Exactly. So we, of course, have a retail model to begin with. And then we also now have a direct-to-consumer model where we're speaking and advertising directly to the consumer. But essentially, as a retail-focused brand, our buyer is the buyers. But it does really help because, of course, it needs to come off the shelf. So everything from our packaging, our messaging at the back of our stories at the back, We also have an initiative called Snacks That Give Back, and it gives a percentage of our profits to orphans in Nigeria, which is something that's very close to my heart. So we do speak to our consumer at the same time online as well. Some people don't know what plantain is, right?
Yeah.
So it's that educational piece, bringing you into the community. And we find that our messaging needs to really speak to the community.
Yeah.
We launched a second product into Sainsbury's called our sweet potato puffs. And I think sweet potato is a bit more common and well known. And we found that those sell really well. So those sell better than Snack Jacks and Sainsbury's. And it's just that kind of messaging that, of course, we're speaking to the retailer, but the consumers are end customers, so we have to speak to them for sure.
Question?
Brilliant product.
Thank
I was going
you.
to say, have you had any challenges basically scaling the business?
Oh,
And
yeah.
what were
Yeah, so many. So it started in March 2019, and the initial investment was about £30,000, and the trajectory was very fast. So within a month, we launched into Selfridges, within like 6 months, Whole Foods Market, and then within the first year, Sainsbury's. And a Sainsbury's listing is an expensive listing to keep and to gain, and that was like with £30,000. So then it was just trying to cut corners at every opportunity. Marketing spend was tight, and that's very challenging, just that cash flow element. So I think that was a big challenge for sure that I can think of, and led to a lot of, late nights, early mornings, a lot of work. But the outcome has been really good, and I'm still here, so we're still here, so it's been worth it.
Any other questions? Thank you. Big round of applause.
All right. So, if you're not already on Mentimeter, please go to Mentimeter and put the code in.
Someone's not on the list.
I know. If you really like it, just go over and give her a hug off.
For
So-
sweet potato puffs. It's a
Yeah,
price.
Please do the voting. There's another question after that. We really want to get everybody doing this in person. This is a trial for us today. We want to see if it works for you. If you've got a phone, please do this. If you haven't got a phone, borrow a phone. Okay? Now, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who gave a demo today. And I think everybody has done amazing. But in particular, I'd like to highlight there were two founders here who were truly gifted at storytelling. Great body language, great smiles, great ways of telling their narrative, which benchmarks, if I teach this stuff on a master's course, you would be case studies of how to do it really well. And subsequently, thank you very much. All right, it's a gift that you've got in you. If I can't teach some of the ways that you've actually addressed the audience today, it's really special. So thank you for that. All right, this is the most important question for me today. Demo nights are going to be run with City University every month for the next year. We're going to rotate between here, Better Space, and Bayes Business School, where the launch was last month. And there are opportunities for everybody. This is open house. You don't have to be part of the program here. You don't have to be a member of Canopy. You don't even have to become a member of those things to be on this stage at any one of those venues. All you need to do is apply and then go through a screening process to then get up here and be ready to tell the story. Okay. The idea here is that we're creating an ecosystem. We've done this in many places before. Canopy started in Boston. We've also done quite a lot of stuff in Lisbon and in Bangalore as well. And here we are in London doing similar stuff. Okay. So this is an open house every month, second Wednesday of the month. And every time we hear, we wouldn't recommend it to a friend, we want to understand what's different here and what we need to change to make it the right thing for this. Okay. So this is the last bit. Any comment you want to make is all good. And I just should say that things I'm getting there. Okay. There's heat system, there's things we can stay as long as you like. If you want to watch the football, I think Matt and I'm going to work out to put that in there. Okay. Is there anything you want to give us as feedback today? Just shout out either to the startups or to us and people that have organised it. What do you want to say? Other than don't ask me hard questions at the beginning.
The Mentimeter kind of runs away because you have to respond to every single slide and every single if you stop paying attention, you're like 10 slides behind.
But you can flip forward, right?
It's kind of the UI is a bit. You have to close the questions down, then flip forward, and then
the best we've found so far. If there's a better tool, Like we've tried Slido as well,
Okay.
and then narrowing it down. What's super cool is that everything that we see, anybody watching the live stream also sees. We kind of join those two experiences.
Yeah, to be fair, this is probably feedback meant to be the right one.
Yeah. But we want the right tool, right? The other thing we were trying to avoid is like at Bayes, what we noticed was that like they have the posy, the posy things about people stood around for ages and they didn't feel like they could contribute. And we wanted to give away that could happen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's post-it notes on the board. I don't know. Maybe that's better. Okay. Good. Either you're watching Netflix taking the football score, or you're actually
Trying to catch up with it. Actually, I lost my place on this. Yeah, I lost my place. Just trying to.
I'm not gifted at storytelling.
But you teach it.
Yeah. But that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can't do it, then you should teach it, right? All right. Is there any other feedback you want to give us right here in the moment?
Please go to Scotland. I'm from Scotland, Scottish Uni, Edinburgh. Nothing like this architecture in the ecosystem. Please go to Scotland.
We can go. You want to go to Scotland? Yeah. We can go to Scotland. Yeah, Rachel Fly, she's a pilot, so she could take it.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I haven't done that for 2 years, so that would be
Okay. That's good. That's the sort of demo I want really refined before we go.
And we don't have as much startup to touch, for example. And that's really valuable to see, to experience.
Fantastic. All right, so thank you very much, everybody. The next demo night will actually be remote in August because it's holiday time and we don't do one in person that time. And then September will be in Better Spaces, always the second Wednesday, and you can find more information out. Vivian looks after the City Ventures Eventbrite, which is where these will be posted, and you can go to the Canopy website and look for it as well. So thank you very much. Enjoy each other's company. We'll come and talk to all of you before you go. All right. Thank you. Oh yeah, what? I know.
Oh yeah.
You look like Arthur. It is.
No.
You look like.
Who's this guy?